Hello, everyone. We want to take this opportunity to say thank you. As you grow at the Golden Boot, so do our needs, but we cannot do it without you. We ask that you continue to like our posts, share our content, and subscribe to our YouTube, Facebook, and other social media platforms. You may also visit thegoldenboot.com for the latest merch. If you would like to make a financial donation, you can do so through Cash App at #GoldenBoot or through PayPal at paypal.me/goldenboot. We look forward to bringing you more laughs, knowledge, and entertainment. And again, thank you for your endless support. Sincerely and respectfully, the Golden Boot team.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
Y'all ready to get rolling? Quiet on the set. Welcome back to another edition of the Golden Boot. It's your boy Pooh Bell. I got my man Aunt Petty Murphy in the building. We got Daniel D. Williams in the building. And first off, happy Halloween to everyone. Happy birthday, Mama.
Happy birthday, Miss Pooh.
Yeah, so you on mute. He on mute, so I know you was talking. You was saying something ugly.
Nah. I just said happy birthday, Miss Pooh Bear.
Yeah, so, all right.
Do people call you Mama Pooh Bear?
No, man.
Do they call her Mama Pooh?
No. She's actually she's a Thomas. So, but everyone, do us a favor and like Daniel says, go ahead and like, share, say subscribe too. Make sure you subscribe. We on that quest. Let me go ahead and throw it up there. Boom, we on that quest trying to hit 1,000. If you haven't done so already, go ahead and go over to the Golden Boot pod on YouTube, or you can go directly to the youtube.com/the Golden Boot pod. It'll take you directly to our page. Click on that red subscribe button, make it turn gray, help us out. But first, gentlemen, it's been a great weekend for football.
Yes, it has.
Usually this is truly by far the best bye week I've had as an LSU fan.
Yeah, one of the best for sure.
Yeah.
No, LSU didn't play, so I don't care.
It's a bye week.
No.
But hey, listen,
bye weeks.
Hey, the Magic City Classic did not. Oh, Josh Allen got laid out. But the Magic City Classic was by far that thing came down to the last second. Who else? It was a couple of games like that. The Boombox Classic came down to the first seconds.
Not so much.
Yeah. But it was great. It was a great weekend. Jordan Toes made an impact. We're gonna talk a lot more about that on Wednesday. So make sure y'all tune in to HBCU Hour. It was a lot of things got shook up. On the other side, we're gonna talk about some stuff. It was like the games this past weekend. LSU moved. Yeah, LSU moved up. It's a lot of teams. Yeah, it was a lot of teams showed us they not ready for November because November is for contenders. And they ain't ready.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Hey, we'll find out Saturday if we're a contender also.
Hey, but does that apply to the NFL too?
Oh yeah, we can throw that in there. We can throw them in there because today it was a lot of teams that
we found the truth out about.
Yeah. One it looked like the Rams won and done. So they definitely sold last year.
Yes, sir. Are the Giants for real?
Didn't look so today.
Nah. Geno Smith looked for real though.
Yeah.
Geno been playing great all season.
Dawson Knox.
Will the real Russell Wilson stand up? Because maybe they need to play all their games.
I was just gonna say maybe they need
Uncle
to play
Nation.
overseas.
Let's ride.
They need to.
Or maybe he need to do high knees on every flight. For every game.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. Maybe Sierra told him she wasn't going. Hey, listen here. Let's talk about the Saints. The Saints stood up today finally. I asked, or I was going to ask on Thursday, but we got kind of wrapped up playing with. I say playing. God, pause. We got wrapped up joking around with Dilly, so I ain't really get a chance to ask where the Saints were talking about.
Apparently so.
Yeah, I was really gonna tell people. I kind of started telling people, fade the Saints. I'm not taking any Saints bets. I'm not betting any overs, unders, nothing.
I'm not betting on them. This team too inconsistent to bet on.
Way too inconsistent. So
hey, look, whenever Andy Dalton come to play, bro, he come to play. That's all I gotta say. And today he brought his lunch pail. Get a man his props. Get a man his props.
I mean, did he or did Alvin Kamara?
Oh man, what? Why are we gonna do that?
I'm just asking a question. He played good, but
okay,
was it him or was it Alvin Kamara?
Team effort.
Okay, but how much of that effort?
Now it's a team effort.
How much of that effort was Alvin Kamara? How much of that effort was Alvin Kamara? He had almost 100 yards receiving, had 60 yards and 2 touchdowns rushing.
He had to get the ball to him. He did a great job. Okay. Great job.
And Alvin Kamara made him look good.
Taysom Hill had a good 60 yards.
Taysom Hill also had 60 yards,
rushing. So I don't know.
Well, I thought you started playing music in my earbuds. I'm like, man, what is going on?
No, why would I do that?
It was ESPN. I'm like,
oh, nah.
But yeah, I would say this: the offense did look good, but a lot of that was because of Alvin Kamara, and I think he's finally healthy, and he showed that he's still AK. Andy Dalton, he looked good though. He got the ball out quick, made some good decisions. So I'm not gonna fault him, but it ain't like they won because of Andy Dalton.
Yeah. No Mike Thomas, no Jarvis Landry, no more Marshawn Lynch.
You really won
Marshawn Lattimore. I'm sorry.
You really won because of the defense, honestly. If we want to keep it 1,000.
Yeah, because I'm looking at it.
I just said Andy played a good game today.
That's not what you said.
That's not what you said.
That's all I said. I said, get that man his props when he come to play ball.
He brought his lunch pail today.
You said he came to play ball. Like
he brought his lunch pail today.
He
was doing it.
All right, okay, hear me out. 22 for 30, 229 yards, 2 touchdowns, a QB rating of 117. That's a pretty good stat line.
Yeah, he really did.
He played pretty good. I mean, I'm gonna give him his props. When he pooped the bed like he does, we're gonna say he didn't play good. But when he played good, give him his props.
He played okay. That's all I'm saying.
Who didn't play okay? Derek Carr. Derek Carr is 15 of 26, 101 yards.
The defense that's what I'm saying. The defense helped that offense out a lot. They got turnovers. Finally, shout out Tyrann Mathieu. Finally got our second interception of the season. You saw Davenport in the defensive line. Peyton Turner had 2 sacks. So the defense, I don't think they've crossed the 50 until the fourth quarter.
They didn't. So, I did see that. Yeah,
with the backup quarterback had to come in. So
Jarrett Stidham, former Auburn quarterback.
I think the defense really, the game ball goes to that side of the team for sure.
Yeah, I'm looking.
But I mean, that's the thing about the NFL, man. Every week, any team could be.
Yeah, I mean, shout out to Alontae Taylor. Devontae Adams had 1 catch.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. Like that's big for the rookie to come in Marshawn's absence and step up like that.
Right.
Let's look at the chat. Start off our guy Chris English. What's good? Chris said, "Let's go."
What up,
Ryan Thibodeau say, "What it do, boot? What's good?" Marvin say, "What up, family? What's good, Marv?
What up, family?
Yeah, family. Yeah, talk about that. It was a great football weekend.
Yes, it was.
And Marvin say it's been a long week without LSU ball.
That's very true.
That is true. Chris English, was today the real Russell or was it the Jags?
That's a fair question.
The Jags.
Fair. I mean, he
first and goal at the 1, and you throw an interception.
True. I mean, that's the real Russell Wilson, ain't it?
No, that was what's his name?
Yeah. You're right.
Trevor Lawrence. Yeah,
they could have won that game. The Jags really gave that game away, honestly.
He did. Blake at AYS, I wonder how many songs are in that dome.
Funny guy.
I used to have an iPod, when the iPod Classics that had 160 gigs, and it was like I had so many songs. Like you know, how I used to tell you, iTunes tell you how many songs you can play without having to hear the same song over and over. I think I had got to like 723 days worth of songs or something like that.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
They still do that now.
Yeah, Daniel definitely got me beat. Thibodeau says he got iTunes, Spotify, Amazon Music in that dome where he is.
I just got a big brain. Smart.
I heard it. Yeah. TM7 looked like his old self today.
Yeah.
So I'm glad y'all were able to watch it. I had to do some things. He got to score in the red zone. Yeah.
That's a fair point. But I think part of that is your running game hasn't been great. It's predictable. Because you put Taysom Hill in the red zone, they know what he's gonna do. But
yeah. So I guess this answers this question. Was it the right decision to start Dalton today versus trying to bring Jameis back?
I mean, at this point, you can't argue with a W. You can't argue with a W. I didn't see nothing from the offense to say that Jameis couldn't have done the same thing, but I mean, I'm not gonna sit up there and say that they shouldn't have started Dalton. They won the game.
Hey, so the last time Jameis played, what happened?
He had 4 fractures in his back.
No, I just want to know what happened. What was the results of the game?
They lost. The last time Andy Dalton started, what happened?
They won. It was today.
4 picks.
Before today, what happened? Before today, what happened?
You're only as good as your last.
Okay. But
game.
The question was starting Andy Dalton. So before they started Andy Dalton today, what was his last start?
Today.
Before they started him today, what was his last start?
It's 750.
Exactly my point.
Yeah. Today.
Exactly my point.
Today.
Exactly my point. He had a loss also.
Hey, kudos to my man Andy Dalton.
Boy, that dude there.
Come on, man. Let's go.
You just don't like to admit that you're wrong. I get
Who that?
I get it.
Yeah. All right. So apparently Sean Payton has been visiting the team during the week.
He did visit the team during the week. And he gave them his scouting report on the team, so to speak, or his what he felt like they could do better, so to speak. And I think that you saw a lot of that in the offense today.
So
how long y'all think that's gonna last?
Not long, honestly, but
I mean, if you got to do that, what are you paying Pete Carmichael for? What are you paying?
Oh, what are you paying Dennis Allen for?
Yeah, what are you paying Dennis Allen for?
Right.
Well, I mean, but it kind of makes sense though, because you kept them trying to keep the same continuity of what Sean was doing. So you have to bring Sean back to make sure that it's what you know what I mean, like because you got a guy who obviously can't do it on his own, or he's trying to emulate, or he's trying to run somebody else's team without that person being there. It's like a substitute teacher, man. You know what I mean? Every now and then, the real teacher gonna have to hop in and, hey, here's the lesson plan. This is what you need to be doing.
Yeah. Andrew Martin says it would have been a better week if the Panthers didn't out Falcon the Falcons.
Yeah, that DJ Moore, bro. You can't be that, man. Situation. They down 6.
Yep.
A few seconds left in the game. DJ Moore catches a beautiful 62-yard touchdown.
Yep.
To tie the game. Takes his helmet off to celebrate. 15-yard penalty.
So make a 33-yard extra point, a
48-yard pin, and the kicker misses it. Goes to overtime.
I mean, so let me ask you this: at that point, do you go for 2?
No, because it's still a 15-yard penalty.
I know.
So you gonna go for 2 from 17?
I don't know. I mean, if you missing 48.
I mean,
hindsight. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think the odds of you making a 48-yard field goal are a little bit better than scoring from the 17-yard line. One play.
Yeah.
But the kicker did have a chance to redeem himself in overtime, and he missed again. So that's just on him.
Yeah.
That one on him. The first one I give him a pass for. But
yeah. Alvin Kamara, he had a game today. Had an excellent game today. Daniel, I think you brought up before talking about trading Alvin Kamara. Yeah. You brought that up. You mentioned that again before the show.
Yeah, y'all chewed my ass out.
Yeah.
You see why you see why you don't trade the man?
But I guess there's supposedly trade rumors again, or people are still steady talking. My question is, why would you? He literally is your only consistent weapon.
Because your team, you need younger players. You need more assets.
Why would you trade?
Your team is not
the one weapon you have now.
Are you looking for the future, or are you playing for now? Because you're not winning the Super Bowl now. You might not even make the playoffs now.
I understand that, but you're actually still in the playoff race.
You really are. You're in second place in your division.
So why would you trade your only weapon?
He's not your only weapon right now.
Who's your other weapon?
Once your guys get healthy.
Once they get healthy, right?
Okay, right.
How long have they been out?
They've been out for a long time.
Okay, so why would you trade?
This would be the fourth week.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, so why would you trade them and say, well, they'll be here soon? What are you going to do?
That's even more reason to trade him, because you're not going to make a playoff run.
But you're in the playoff run right now.
Okay, so you get in the playoff run, and what do you do with only Alvin Kamara? What do you do?
That's what we're saying. You
do nothing. Trade him. Get some more assets.
Hold on.
So you're gonna go on a playoff run without Alvin Kamara?
No,
that's supposed to be better.
No, you're not. But you're looking for the future.
You're still in the playoff run, whether you trade him or not.
Hold on. So let's say this. Let's do this, Daniel.
Guys, you're not making the playoffs.
Daniel, you're in a fight. Matter of fact, we're gonna make this. You in a water gun fight, right?
Okay, even if you win the
let me finish.
You're not gonna do anything.
Let me. Matter of fact, you in a water gun fight, right? All you got is the little dollar stove. Pew pew pew. That's all you got. Everything else broke. You gonna say, hey, I'm gonna trade this and hope that those get fixed?
No.
What the hell is you talking about trading the one weapon you got?
Because I'm looking for the future. Because you have nothing right now.
You don't listen to yourself when you talk, do you?
How?
Because you literally saying,
okay, so let me ask you.
We're saying you have one weapon. Daniel, if that's the case, trade some of the other pieces you have that aren't contributing and get more weapons for the future to help the one you do have.
Look what you're saying. Trade weapons that aren't contributing. So if I'm another franchise, why would I want to take a player off of your hands that's not giving you nothing? And they can't benefit me.
So why would you?
That makes no sense at all.
It makes a lot more sense to do that than trade the one thing you do have that's working for you.
But you're not going anywhere.
You are literally Daniel, listen to this. You are literally in second place in your division.
Who in the worst division in the NFL.
But you still can make it. Okay, Daniel.
You can still make it to the playoffs, bro.
Daniel, if you're
not okay. Are we playing?
Okay, so check this out. Hold on.
Are we playing for playoffs? Or are we playing to win a Super Bowl?
Okay, so
you got to get in the playoffs.
Hold on.
Super Bowl
Last year, Cincinnati barely made the playoffs last year, and they made it to the Super Bowl. All you gotta do is get in the playoffs, and anything can happen, dog.
Okay. Cincinnati still had pretty good offensive talent. They had the worst offensive line in the league.
And they had a terrible defense.
They had a
terrible defense.
They had an opportunistic defense.
They had a terrible defense, and they still made it to the Super Bowl because anything can happen when you make it to the playoffs. Anything can happen when you ask the Giants. Whenever they beat the Patriots, there was a wild card team. Anything can happen.
I'm not mistaken. A lot of NFL champions.
And if the Saints defense is playing the way it played today, that team is good enough to beat people in the playoffs.
So it's an outlier.
So let me ask you this, Dane. You said those. Let me play your game. You said you're not doing anything right now, right? But you're in second place in your division, right?
Worst division in the NFL.
Yeah. I don't give a damn if it was the worst division.
Worst division in the NFL.
It doesn't matter
if it's the worst division.
And when you get to playoffs, you're gonna get smoked.
Okay, how about this?
Okay, so check this out. Hold on. All right, so the Seahawks made it to playoffs as a 7-9. It's 7-9 team a little while back ago, and you know who they beat in the playoffs? The Saints.
Great.
So they made it out of the worst division in football, and they won a playoff game.
I got it better for you, Ant. If I'm not mistaken, the year before that, or when the Seahawks won it, they played the Rams and beat them and put them out.
Keep talking.
Anything can happen if
because you're literally saying, hey, those guys. Again, you said, hey, your other weapons may get healed up and come back, right?
Yeah.
Right. So why would I trade? Because you're literally in second place. If you trade, you're done.
I already told him that, Chris. He don't want to listen to me.
I get what you're saying.
Already rejected the Bills
but
trade
these
offer.
teams
Rejected the Eagles trade offer.
How about we trade with somebody that's worse? Why not trade?
What are you going to get?
The Bills and Eagles. They're in a good spot.
What are you?
Well, you know the Eagles have the Saints' first round draft pick this year, right?
That's great. If I'm the Eagles, I'm not trading that pick either to the Saints.
But that's a team that has a good draft pick that they hung up on. So I mean.
If I'm the Eagles, why would I trade that pick for Kamara?
So if you're any other bad team, why would you trade your pick for Kamara?
Because I actually have a chance to win the Super Bowl and still get a top 10
team.
You just said a bad team.
I'm talking about the Eagles.
You just said why can't the Saints trade with a bad team? Why would a bad team trade for Kamara if they not finna win?
Because Kamara is an asset.
So that's another. So you're arguing against yourself. The Saints should trade their asset. You say the Saints are a bad team.
The Saints should get younger. Hold on. We need a quarterback.
Hold on.
We need an offensive lineman.
You're saying the Saints are a bad team. You're saying the Saints are a bad team, and they should trade their asset to another bad team, so that other bad team can have an asset. That's absolutely ludicrous.
How is that ludicrous?
Because the Saints should just keep their asset if they're a bad team. They're gonna be in the same boat as this other team, a bad team with Kamara.
With a high first round pick.
Hold on, you just said
nobody's trading a high first round pick for Kamara. You just said that yourself.
The Saints, you just said the Saints should trade Kamara to a bad. You did. You just said the Saints should trade Kamara to a bad team, so that bad team can make a run, right?
Well, that bad team can have an asset.
They can have an asset, yeah,
to make a run, right?
I never said to make a run.
Okay. What you need an asset for?
To have an asset.
Exactly. To sell tickets.
So the Saints need an asset like Kamara.
Hold on.
You're making our argument for us, dog. When you said they should trade him to a bad team, that's no different than him being on the Saints, dog. Whatever that bad team needs.
I'm looking at it from the Saints perspective.
So why would a bad team? Why would a bad team? Why would a bad team trade for an older guy? You said
you're
they
not
need to
looking
get
at
younger.
it from the Saints perspective. You're looking at it from a Madden perspective, because that's something you'll do on Madden. All right. And you are literally in the playoff hunt.
Okay.
This dude here is hilarious, bro.
Hey, okay. Let's.
But just like I was saying 2 weeks ago that they should trade, but nah, crazy. Why would they do that? And teams are asking for him.
Of course, teams are going to ask for him.
Media that doesn't mean the same that you should trade him.
Who?
For assets.
Who?
Man, come on, man.
Who said that?
We'll look at it later. I'll pull
no,
it up.
No. You shouldn't. Don't be throwing them claims out there, big dog.
Media people.
I haven't seen one.
I'll pull it up. Go ahead.
Please do.
Go ahead.
Please do. Chris English says, if the Saints trade anyone, it needs to be players like Jordan or Michael Thomas. We need to dump older players that have 25 million plus salary cap hits.
Yeah, but the only problem with that is if you trade Mike Thomas, the dead money is going to kill you because of the way his contract is restructured.
And he hasn't played in 2 years.
It doesn't matter about that. Even if he hadn't played, the way his contract is restructured is going to be dead money. It's pointless to do it either way it goes. You're going to be paying for him not to be on the team.
Got it.
You looking for that quote, Daniel?
Yeah, I'm sure.
go ahead, man.
I'm waiting on it too.
All right. So let me ask this. We got the Buffalo Bills. Also the Quarter to Power will be joining us soon. We got the Bengals. The Bengals. Can they make another playoff run?
Yes.
Now that we've got news that
that's why Jamar Chase being out hurts.
4 to 6
But
weeks.
they're saying he's still playing, right?
4 to 6 weeks.
He's out 4 weeks.
I thought they weren't going to put him on IR.
They're not putting him on IR, but he's still not playing.
Yeah.
Gotcha. They're hoping that he can heal quicker because he's Jamar Chase, pretty much. But I'm not betting on that to happen. That's tough, bro. I think they can. What you mean by another run, like to the Super Bowl?
I honestly don't think they're going to the Super Bowl, and and the next topic is the reason why.
Okay, all right. So let me read this.
Okay,
Bleacher Report: the Saints want at least a comparable package to what the Panthers received for Christian McCaffrey to trade Alvin Kamara. Per rap sheet, Tom, whatever his name, Pelissero.
Not buying that.
And Mike, you asked for accredited source, and I gave you accredited source.
They say that they should trade, or that's what the Saints would want in a trade?
That's what they want. Something comparable to Christian McCaffrey.
You said that people are saying they should trade him, but that's not what that said. But all right, you got it.
Okay.
You said media people are saying they should trade him. That's not what their report said. Their report said what the Saints would want if they did trade him. And the Saints beat writer, the best beat writer for the Saints, Nick Underhill, said that they're not fielding any calls for trades for Alvin Kamara. So I'll trust him before I trust Ian Rappaport or Tom Pelissero or whoever else for Bleacher Report.
Got it.
All right. So back to the Bengals. I don't think they'll make a Super Bowl run. I think they can. I think they have. I think they can pull something together and possibly even make it to the AFC Championship. Depends on where they fall bracket wise.
I don't know, dog. It's gonna be hard for them to make. I don't see them winning their division with Chase being out.
So here's the reason why I can. Pittsburgh is not it right now at all.
No. Pittsburgh
is the Pitts. The Browns have been managing to win, but the Browns also very flawed. We'll see. Tomorrow is going to tell a lot.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, look, you still got T. Higgins.
Baltimore is. I think Baltimore is the challenge, and they actually should have won that Baltimore game. But we're gonna get to another topic, which is the reason why I think they lost that game. But the reason why, so you said Super Bowl run, I don't think they make a Super Bowl run because Buffalo Bills.
I mean, I don't. Looking at it, they're gonna have to.
I think they still got some weapons, man. Jamar Chase is still probably one of the top 5 best wide receivers in the league. You lose him, you lose a big part of your offense.
Yeah,
but you still got Tyler Boyd, you still got T. Higgins, still got Joe Mixon, who having a pretty good season.
Hayden Hurst is going to be big.
They still got a good team, but so much of what they do is based off Chase. Much of what they do is based off Chase that it's easier to defend those other guys now that you ain't got to worry about Chase. I don't know. They might can make it in as a wild card, but it's gonna be hard for them to go on the road and win all those playoff games like they did last year.
All right. Hey, Blaine, I see your question. We'll save that one for when we get Carter in here. Talk a little bit more about that one.
So but if he's only out 4 to 6 weeks, he'll be back in time for the playoffs.
Yeah. But how much position do you lose in those 4 to 6 weeks? Because right now they're not leading their division, and if the playoffs started right now, they wouldn't be in the playoffs.
But they're still in the hunt. So you definitely wouldn't trade. They starting I
wouldn't trade. I wouldn't trade Jamar Chase, because they're in the hunt. Like that don't make sense.
Shut up. The Saints should try to trade for Jamar Chase.
Hey, Ania, how are you?
I'm joking, bro. It's a joke. It's a joke.
They get hung up on like
Christ.
everybody who trying to trade for Kamara.
Yeah. All right. So Buffalo Bills. They're playing. They're 14-0 on the Packers. Which any other year I'd be like, wow, you know what I'm saying? The Bills doing something right. But this year,
Packers suck.
Yeah, Packers are awful. Which is ironic because
the Bills are good.
Yeah, Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers both struggling. Those both team quarterbacks who played around. We talked about this, I think, before too. Both quarterbacks who played around with coming back and leaving the team and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, do y'all believe in Buffalo?
I do.
It's Buffalo for real this time.
Yep. I mean, they've been for real.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a coin toss and overtime away from being, arguably making the Super Bowl last year. So
that's true.
Or
at least playing for a chance.
Exactly. AFC Championship game. Mm-hmm. And so, I mean, and it would have been an AFC Championship game in Buffalo, So I think that's they've been for real, really. And when you look at adding Von Miller to their defense, I think that's like the missing piece.
Yeah.
Hey, the recipe to get a Super Bowl is have Von Miller on your team. Look, you want a ring, go get Von Miller.
Hey, and if they scoop up Odell, it's over with.
Yeah.
That's one. That is one team.
That'd be nice.
I think them and the Vikings were another team that were actually looking at them. I think this has actually been answered. But in New England, we saw last week. On
Bailey Zappi.
Yeah, they benched Mac Jones, put in Zappi. Zappi immediately came in, threw a touchdown. But then he didn't look as good later on in the game. But a lot of people were kind of questioning Bill Belichick's decision to bring in Zappi and not let Mac Jones work through it. Is there a QB controversy in New England?
I think you got your answer today whenever Mac Jones played the whole game.
Yeah.
Now, if they would have lost today or if they wouldn't have looked good today, then I think you might would have had a controversy. But they beat the Jets, who had been playing pretty good. And if you would have bet your both New York teams, you would have lost real bad today. But
yeah, I did. Don't rub it in.
Oh, my bad, dog. My bad.
Oh yeah, they did. But see, and that's another thing. That's another funny thing. So far this year, both New York teams have either both won or both lost.
Yeah. So I mean, they beat the Jets, and he didn't look bad today. So I think they're gonna keep rolling with him for now. But they gotta their fans might not like the decision because they seem to like Bailey Zappi.
I just think Mac Jones is just a middle of the road quarterback, man. Ain't nothing special about him, in my opinion.
I think he's perfect for Belichick's system.
Yeah, I mean, think and dunk. I don't know. I don't like him. It's not just because he's an Alabama quarterback. I just never thought
that's a good. That's a good reason to not like him. Especially
right. I mean, but I never saw anything special about him, honestly.
Oh, so it's like Andy Dalton.
No, you can't say that. Andy Dalton had a pretty good career.
Yeah, he has. He has up until you get to where
4 teams in 4 years.
Until you get to
the red zone.
Red zone, or or
you would think that he would be good in the red zone.
Or until you get to the playoffs, and it's like, hey, if you win this game, we go on. If not, we go home. And it's like, you know what? I think I'm ready to go home.
Oh, y'all are wild.
It's hunting season, man.
Wild.
All right. We got our guests ready. Carter the Power Bryant. This is the Carter. All right.
Hey, Mr. Carter.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Golden Boot. Our man, Carter the Power Bryant. He even got Lil Wayne. Look at him. Look out. Got Lil Wayne in there. This is the Carter.
Hey, that boy look like Russell Wilson.
Oh my God. You know what's funny? No, I've gotten the Russell Wilson thing before. So I'll say this. Let's ride.
Hey, Carter, I wonder if that's like a biracial thing, because people always tell my son he looks like Russell Wilson.
Yeah, no,
I hope he don't throw like him.
No.
I,
I
there,
hope
so
he
there's
does one day.
there is an Instagram account that somebody made of me because they thought I looked like Obama. So they have like a bunch of they have a
I don't
bunch of
even-
photos.
man.
I don't see Obama. I see more Russell Wilson. Every light skinned celebrity I've been called.
That's
I've been called
crazy.
every race in the book.
Hey, as a
What is-
comedian, you've never been called Avion Crockett?
Well, I'm not that talented.
Now, you know what? Now, Carter, if we were gonna go there, I might would say Jesse Williams.
Jesse's a beautiful human. Like, I mean,
Yeah, you get compared to Jesse. You doing good, bro.
yeah. My fiance wishes. I was Jesse. No, Afion's a freaking. He's one of the most underrated comics alive. His impersonation game is just so.
Yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's so good, man.
Every time I see that clip from the spoof of the Scary Movie where he's in there and he's like, "Hey, where your furniture?" I crack up. I just start cracking up.
Yeah. No, that's great, man.
Carter, let me ask you this first question. How did you spend the bye week? How did you maintain sanity through the bye week?
I'm gonna be as honest. I got hammered last night. What
were you drinking?
Oh, I was drinking vodka cranberries, man. Danny, who you guys know from like Twitter Spaces and all that, she always gets on me about my love for fruity drinks. I'm a fruity drink guy.
Me too.
Thank you, D-Dub. I gotta have fruit in my alcohol. But no, we had an engagement party thrown for me and my fiance, and I never get to like just go all out on Saturdays. So stayed out till 4 a.m. Got into a deep argument with somebody that's invited to my wedding. He was slandering Barry Sanders, saying that Barry was not a top 5 all-time RB. And I was
them is fighting words.
Yeah. And so the funny thing about that was that last night was the first time I gotten that drunk since the national championship game. And the first person I saw walking out of the Superdome. So LSU had just won the national championship. This was probably like, for all of us, our most euphoric moment as LSU fans. The first person I see walking out of the dome was Barry Sanders. And I was blitzed out of my mind. Okay. And I never get to that level. But once LSU had it just, under wraps, I was like, I'm going all out. So I called my dad. I was like, Dad, Barry. I was like, Dad, Barry's walking right here. And there's a selfie on my Instagram. You could just see me just gone. And you see the greatest. I think Barry's number 1. I really do think so.
I'll agree with that.
I know older schoolers will tell you Gale Sayers, Jim Brown.
There you go, Jim Brown. Yeah,
and Jim Brown has a lacrosse thing, so it shows you like how great of an athlete he was. But meeting Barry Sanders was like just as, I wouldn't say it was just as great as LSU, winning that, but I've just never had like a 10-minute moment of my life that was as great as that. So last night when someone that was invited to my wedding said, I think Barry Sanders is overrated. I was like, if you don't go home and watch 20 million Detroit Lion games right now, that he was like carried them.
What?
He literally carried. My God, Barry Sanders. Do you know how good Barry Sanders? I'm going to tell you how you know Barry Sanders. Barry Sanders was so good. He was on the worst team.
How good was he?
Yeah, he was on the worst team and made the Madden couple. I want to say Barry Sanders started the Madden curse. I think the year he was on the cover, he retired.
That's crazy.
Somebody gonna have to fact check me on that, but yeah,
it's just like the Lions, because I heard you guys talking about Mac Jones a minute ago. But like all these franchises have like just the weirdest facts about him. It's just weird that the Lions had Barry Sanders and like soon after that had Megatron. Never won a daggum thing. I could not imagine being a Lions fan. And now they got DeAndre Swift and they got good pieces now, and they still suck because they got Jared Goff at quarterback. But it's good to see you guys. Today I was looking at Bryce Young stuff. I just, dropped a Bryce Young film study, and it's just what this guy's able to do is just crazy. I think it's like pretty clear now that he is the best quarterback since Burrow in the collegiate game. I think, I'm a big Hendon Hooker fan, as you guys know. Before the year, I picked Tennessee to win the East. I really loved Hendon Hooker. I really loved the offense, but it's the offense, right? He's got better weapons for me than Bryce Young. He's got a caller than Bryce.
Yes.
And I just think Bryce Young just does so many little things well at the quarterback position. But here's the good news, baby, is he's not faced the level of athletes that LSU has right now in their defense. Yeah. And something else that was very interesting, going back and rewatching a Mississippi State game earlier today, was they could not run the football on Mississippi State. They averaged 1.7 yards per carry. Yeah. And, Mississippi State had a good outing defensively. It's just they couldn't finish drives offensively, and that was the game.
They had more points than they had rushing yards.
It's crazy. Yeah. It's absolutely crazy.
Yeah. So let's stay there for a second, Carter. The game coming up. I said last week that LSU will not play another offense as dynamic as Tennessee until if they make it to possibly college football playoffs. Tennessee or a rematch with Tennessee in the SEC championship.
Yeah.
Alabama, but wide receivers aren't there that we're used to. Jahmyr Gibbs is good. He is really good, but we've seen
he's great. He's great.
But we've seen he can be slowed down. Not stopped, but at least slowed down. Am I crazy or?
I think Jahmyr Gibbs is special. I do. I think he's to that upper tier of, but Alabama's had the best set. Running backs. It's every year for them, right? But yeah, no, I agree. You can't stop them on the ground, and LSU's got enough. Ali Gay had his best game, I think, this last time around versus Ole Miss. Thought we fit the run a lot better. I also think Ole Miss's offensive line disintegrated versus LSU's offense, or excuse me, LSU's defense. That obviously, played a huge role. But the one thing that is a little encouraging is Alabama's offensive line outside of the Arkansas game has played way worse on the road than they have at home. And that is something, that is, very key. Something else that's going to be very key is LSU's traditional linebacker play, because this is going to be the big question. It's the number one question I'm getting. I've spoken to a few coaches about this. Is what do you do about the Harold Perkins snap count?
I knew that was coming. Yeah.
So, what do you do? Do you want him and BJ on the field at all times? Well, I don't think you can necessarily do that. I do think it's not just that simple, putting our two best defense players on the field at the same time, because they do kind of sort of play the same position. So then you get into how do you go about the snap count? What I would do if I'm LSU defensively is not overthink it like you did versus Tennessee, because ultimately it is always going to be a players over plays kind of thing. Harold Perkins is going to figure it out, right? He's figured everything out up to this point. And look, I want to go down fighting with my best players on the field. Right. So, for me, I do agree that it's not as simple, just put Harold Perkins on the field for every last single rep. It's not that easy, but you cannot have a situation where Tennessee happened and you lost to one of the best. Look, Tennessee's offense is on a trajectory that is, going to put them as one of the best SEC offenses, especially if they beat Georgia. But it is not fine with me that we lost that game without our best thoroughbred out of the stable, right? He is our best defensive player, Harold Perkins. He changes a lot. He's got Lane Kiffin getting nightmares.
Right.
You've got to play him. Now, however you choose to do that is, up to Matt House, who has been phenomenal this year, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah. I think honestly, where at Alabama could possibly have a advantage on offense is besides Gibbs and the quarterback is the tight end position.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I feel like Cameron. How you say his name? Latua. Cameron Latu. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Latu. La 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 la. But I mean, I think he's just a mismatch nightmare. And this feels like one of those games where Saban can make him possibly the X factor. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, he's a really solid player. Now he's not like a Bryce Bowers kind of player, but he's like a Thaddeus Moss. Like he's just really, really good, and he's good at getting open. And he's been Bryce Young's safety valve since Bryce Young has been the quarterback. So it's a good point, D-Dub. Like he's a really good player. And look, LSU's got to make some difficult choices here. What I think they're going to do is I think LSU is going to play a little bit more press defensively. Now, what that entails is you are trusting LSU's DBs to go out there and make plays.
Right.
Truth is, I mean, you don't have a Patrick Peterson out there. You don't have somebody that's just like your true lockdown corner. But I think if you look at Alabama's receivers, I would say, look, I'm going to trust these guys. I'm going to force these guys to make them get open and make plays versus our DBs. Also, something else that is very key, and it's something that Brian Kelly brought up after the Ole Miss game, and we'll hear from him tomorrow, is he liked that LSU's defense was more aggressive in the second half in getting more into the grills of the Ole Miss receivers. And when you did that, that of course gives your pass rush a little bit more time to go out there and make plays. So I do think LSU's defense, as far as their coverages are going to be concerned, I do think they're going to be a little bit more aggressive, which is kind of exciting, but kind of nerve-wracking at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I my only thing I worry about this is like everybody's been saying Alabama doesn't have great receivers. Alabama doesn't have great, and true, based off their production, they don't. But based off their talent, they have some guys. And my only thing is, it seems like every time we play Alabama, Saban finds a guy and uses him to beat us. You know what I mean? And I'm worried that Ja'Cory Brooks, or maybe Aaron Anderson, or one of these, well, not Aaron Anderson, he's hurt, but Shaz Preston, or one of these guys who nobody's really talking about right now is gonna be the one who kills us. You know what I mean? So that's the only thing I'm worried about, is making sure that we don't overlook their weapons and say, oh, they don't have a Devontae Smith or Jerry Jeudy or whoever out there. We ain't got to worry about them, and then we end up getting burnt by that.
I mean, even the kid, Trayshawn Holden. 21 catches, and he has 5 touchdowns. I mean, nobody's talking about that kid.
Well, nobody, and one of the main guys they got out the transfer portal hasn't played much, and the Howell kid, he hadn't played much. He's only had like 1 catch, I think, all year. But he's been healthy for like a month, and it just seems like that's the type of guy Saban just stashes to the side, doesn't give LSU any film on him. You know what I mean? But he's 100% healthy, and they're just gonna use him in this game because we don't. But I'm just worried that our defense is going to be a little too confident in being able to shut down their receivers, and it's going to come back to bite us a little bit.
Yeah, and one thing also that's going to be very key is because Bryce Young won the Heisman, he is the story, right? Everyone, if Bryce wins out, he'll probably win the Heisman again. But the best defense is always a good offense, right?
Yeah.
And the truth is, Jaden is going to have to continue to play like he's playing, but better, right? So what helps me, and I don't know as far as y'all's evaluations, is what I like to do whenever I look at like an LSU offensive performance. If I'm getting ready to go up against Alabama, I ask myself, would this play have worked versus Alabama? And you go look at some of the explosive plays LSU had versus Ole Miss, right? The dump off to Mason Taylor, he broke a tackle and ran. That was our second longest play of the game, ironically, through the air. An Alabama defender is probably going to make that tackle, right there. And instead of it being a 30-plus yard gain, it's a 7-yard gain.
The Jared Jenkins pass is probably an interception.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So and this is where it gets tough because you do have to, do some conceptual, subjective thinking when you start evaluating things like this. But you're right. That was my exact next point, Ann. Is the Jure completions not happening versus Alabama? Their DBs are just going to be better. Now, Jure made an excellent play on the ball to come back to it, and Jure,
beautiful play,
yeah, he's got guile. He's very creative. So that's where Jaden's next step is going to be, because versus Florida, a lot of his deep passes were passes that would have been completed versus Alabama. The deep touchdown of Jure was on tight coverage, and of course the offsides penalty helped him take that shot, but he took the shot on the double move to BTJ that he missed versus Ole Miss. The throw wasn't perfect versus Florida, but he did get it out there enough for BTJ to actually make the play. So Jaden's throwing is still going to have to get sharper, but the truth still remains the same. He is a not a good, not a great. He is a transcendent runner of the football, and it's hard to prepare for someone like him. So he is going to make some plays with his legs, and hopefully he makes enough for his arm with his arm to hopefully get us over the top.
I think this game for Jaden and the wide receivers is the ultimate game, prove a game. As far as we've seen Florida. We've seen Ole Miss where, they have progressed tremendously. They look excellent, but you're really going to have to trust these guys this week because they're going to play tight coverage. You just know. I mean, I know we don't like Elijah Ricks, but the kid, the times that he's played for Alabama, he's played pretty well. Yeah. So,
but you know how to attack him though. Just hit him with a double move.
So I'll say this, and Daniel, to your point, you are right. This is a prove it game. This is going to be that game. I think we've played better teams than Bama already this year.
Yeah, Tennessee.
I think the biggest thing about this game, this is a mental game. This is a game we have to win mentally.
Mike Leach said, you can't be scared of just because they got the red and Alabama jerseys on and stuff like that.
And I think that's
I don't think that's the fact. I don't think that's the fact with this new team.
Exactly. That's my point. But see, the mental thing is they're still LSU players. They're still even the transfers who came in, the Arkansas guys have lost to Bama or have not beaten Bama. But and your head coach has not beaten Bama. But I think at this time, everybody has the confidence, hey, I've got a coach who can get me over this hump. And this coach is like, hey, I've got the talented players and the athletes to get me over this hump. I think this is mentally the biggest hurdle. I don't like talent-wise. I mean, Bama's Bama. The what has kept Bama in the season so far has been coaching. It hadn't been talent.
I'll tell you like this: if I'm an LSU player on this roster right now, I'm thinking we had a terrible coaching staff last year, and we almost beat Alabama.
I completely agree.
And what we're working with now, coaches who can actually make excellent adjustments, I think we'll be fine. I'm
not saying we're not gonna, be okay. All I'm saying is you can't, like Mike Lee said, you can't go into the game already being behind pretty much because you're scared of them because you're in your head, you're like, oh, they're better than us before they even snap the ball. You can't go into a game like that.
Yeah, I would say the game is not won on Saturday. The game is won Monday through Thursday. That's when the game is won, through your preparation and everything. Whenever you go to you already know.
I'm gonna be honest. I think this game was won last week.
Through preparation. Okay.
Just a different approach to this game than the last staff had.
I like it.
Yeah. Outside of Gibbs, we've talked. Well, actually, let's get off the offense. On the defensive side, Carter. My theory has always been, if you can contain the front seven, you can expose the secondary. Does LSU have enough to contain that push that from the front seven?
Yeah. Now, this is where it gets spicy. Okay.
I like spicy.
I do. This is where it gets interesting. I think one thing that does concern me just a little bit, okay, is Mason Taylor, because his performance versus Ole Miss was so good.
Right.
And it was one of the highest graded tight end performances I've ever seen. Like, it was really that good as far as his blocking is concerned.
That's awesome.
That was not the case in the other SEC games where he struggled.
Right.
Okay. These are adults he is going up against this week.
Yeah.
NFL players, guys. This is the first week he's going to be going up against someone that was better than his dad as a defensive end, and Will Anderson.
Yeah.
And it gets tricky now, right? This is grown man, buckle up your chin strap kind of stuff. Now, I think Mason Taylor's a great player. I really do, especially, after the Ole Miss performance.
Right.
He was such a difference maker with the doubles, clearing the edge for Jaden. Obviously it's a very simplified breakdown of what happened, but he was phenomenal. Just simply put, he was that great. Is he going to be that good going up against better players at every level of the defense?
Yeah.
That's huge, because he honestly did change the game versus Ole Miss. And if you're wondering what was the biggest difference, well, Jaden had other games where he played well. This was the first real complete tight end performance from Mason Taylor. If you get that same type of performance, LSU will be able to move the football. The likelihood that he's going to be that dominant versus what Alabama's going to have on their edges is very low. It just is. Now, what is going to be the key as well is obviously, chipping the ends, which is something Josh Williams has done a really good job of this year as well. So, yeah, that's going to be key, right? Helping out Emory Jones, who you guys know pretty well, and Will Campbell. And you know him better than anybody else, probably anybody in LSU media. You've watched him play a lot. Once again, this could be a big matchup for them, right? You look at some of the more powerful ends that they've played. You look at the Derek Halls at Auburn. They had some issues with those kinds of NFL types of ends.
Yeah.
They're 18 years old. A few months ago, they were at Applebee's in rented tuxedos for prom. Now you're playing against millionaires, right?
Right.
So, it's going to be key, those edges for LSU. So we'll see. Obviously, Byron Young is a really good player for them. 47, a great, thicker edge player. Bama's front seven is obviously going to be very good. One more thing, that I think is going to be very key as well is, I know, like, as LSU fans, we focus so much on LSU. And LSU special teams is obviously been a big issue. Mm-hmm. Alabama has made an uncharacteristic amount of special teams mistakes. Mm-hmm. They made some huge ones versus Arkansas that allowed Arkansas to get back into the game. And they made a muffed punt versus Tennessee that was massive in that game. Those mistakes, once again, happen on the road, right? Mm-hmm. Bama special teams has been worse on the road than they have been at home. Now, once again, small samples, but it's just the truth. So, their kicker, Will Reichert, is obviously, someone who kicked well versus Texas, did not kick well versus Tennessee. So, as far as special teams is concerned, I know as LSU fans, we are very focused about that facet of the game. You guys have covered, the special teams issues with the Coach Polian. Alabama's had special teams issues as well.
Yeah. I think also, just looking at their stats, I think there's a play for LSU whenever it comes to being a little bit more disciplined than Alabama.
Yeah.
When it comes to the penalties and the flags. But not only that, Alabama has fumbled the ball a lot this season. 18 fumbles. Now they only lost 5. But I think there's a couple of plays to be had right there whenever it comes to them being undisciplined.
And I'm going to say one quick thing, all right? And this is just the honest truth, because something that happens a lot in our society is someone very powerful can say something and the exact opposite actually be true. Mm-hmm. And the funniest thing, this is the funniest thing. So I have an SEC channel, Power Hour SEC, okay? Please go subscribe. We're close to 1,000 subs. But something happened. I did a Tennessee video, and everybody thinks I'm an Alabama fan because, I don't know why they didn't watch the full video. They took something I said out of context. So a lot of people think.
Is that when they called you the Democrat?
Yes. I was like, yes. How did you know? I'm funded by George Soros and Nancy Pelosi. Me, no. No, it's hilarious. And I'm doing these SEC videos with a Joe Burrow painting in the background in an LSU
from that jersey.
Yes. And they're like, oh, he is for sure an Alabama fan. When on the channel, you go look at the channel, it's more pro Tennessee content than everything because I was the one hyping them up before the year.
Yeah.
Okay, so I had all these Tennessee things. All the Tennessee fans hate me. It's the funniest thing. But I did a video recently, and this is the most hypocritical thing I think I've ever seen in college football, right? Is Nick Saban says all this stuff about rat poison. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
And the media is a distraction. And the media, when Nick Saban is responsible for two of the biggest distraction stories in all of college football over the past year, the Jimbo distraction was him. He was the one that did it. It was nobody else. It was Nick. It was Nick Saban. No one else. I know Jimbo fought back and Deion had a few things to say about it, but he was the one that said it. He was the one that, and Nick is still saying, well, you guys in the media, it's the distraction. You got to tune it out. You were the reason, right? And Texas A&M almost beat you because everybody treated that game like it was something else. Haynes King almost beat you. Haynes King, okay? Second thing, all right? Jermaine Burton, wide receiver, clearly clocks people coming off the field. It is clear, okay? If it was just one person, maybe three. No,
hey, he has Knuckles Buck playing in his helmet.
That man was Carter. He was just scared. Okay, them young.
No. Hey, y'all do know this is not the first time Saban has had a player punch a fan when they're leaving the field.
Really?
Tony Brown did it against when the year Stidham and Auburn beat them. Tony Brown was walking out the field and punched the player then too. No punishment.
Really?
Yep.
So, to your point, all Nick Saban had to do was suspend Jermaine Burton for one game versus Mississippi State.
That they didn't need him for.
They didn't need him. He made like a few catches, but they still win the game, right? That's all he had to do, right? There's objective video of multiple times that he did this. And everyone would have been like, okay, that seems like it's a somewhat just, punishment for that. But no, Nick had to say, look, I don't like when people charge a field. And this BS that he was scared, okay? So what does this mean for LSU? Well, Nick has created a distraction. This is undoubtedly a distraction. This is a really bad look for his program. And I understand Nick is at legendary status. There's nothing that you could do to take away from, Nick. But this was hitting another human being, right? Yeah. They did nothing to Jermaine Burton, right? And I know a few weeks ago that there was a video of a Texas Tech fan pushing a Texas player when they rushed the field versus Texas after an overtime victory or whatever. So look, rushing the field is crazy. I've been lucky to film a lot of games on the sideline, and there have been field rushing, and it could be crazy, right? But the simple truth is this. Nick, however you stand morally on the Jermaine Burton thing is, whoever watching this, that's your stance. I'm not going to judge you for that. Mm-hmm. But Nick is the reason why this distraction existed. He could have just put it out and said, we're going to sit Burton out for Mississippi State. We're going to do a further investigation. Everyone would be like, okay, that's fine. Well, for one game. But no, Nick's got to be right about everything. And that is undoubtedly a distraction because I'm sure there are players on the team that did not agree with Jermaine Burton, who was a transfer, right? He's not. Jermaine Burton is probably not the most loved guy in that Alabama locker room. Mm-hmm. And also, Burton paints all the other Alabama players in a bad light, when you do something like that. So, Nick is the distraction, and I just wanted to share that because like he says these things, but the exact opposite is true. No Alabama player creates the distractions. No Alabama player has ever in recent years has ever said anything bad to the media at all. You see, there's this viral clip of Quinnen Williams laughing about something, and then he turns into a robot. Right. Like, I didn't mean to say it. I didn't mean to say that. I don't want to.
I think it was in the national championship or something.
Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
When it was asked about,
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Kyler Murray ain't that.
I remember that. Yeah.
What are you gonna say? Nothing.
Big old baby.
I love it. But yeah, and look, I like Nick. Obviously, every single one of us are gonna like Nick to a certain degree, right? He won us a national championship. He's our rival now, whatever the case may be. Yeah. But people are afraid to call him out on his BS. Now, I will say there have been some people in traditional college football media who know Nick who have said, "Look, you made a wrong decision," but not suspending this player. But man, it's just absolutely crazy. It really is.
Yeah.
We got two questions for you. This one came probably a little bit before. He says, does Major Burns start? Does LSU work him in a limited role this weekend?
I get to see Blaine. Blaine shared a stat with me. He's undefeated when he attends LSU games. So
okay. Blaine, he better be there this week.
I've only seen LSU lose once in the Tiger Stadium.
And what was that?
That was the 2007 national championship year. We lost to Florida. Not 2007. 2003 we lost to Florida. 19-7.
Oh wow, you were at that game. That's good.
Yeah, mine was Tennessee this year. That's the only loss I've been to.
That's the only one you okay.
Mine was unfortunately I got to see Les Miles create the Dabo and Clemson. I was at the Peach Bowl that year when we were up big.
Oh no!
We were up and we were up big, and they came back. I was at that game.
Taj Boyd
sick
ended Clemsoning. And ended Clemsoning.
Yes, listen, I was sitting in a Clemson section.
That was New Year's Eve, right?
New Year's Eve.
Yes, I remember that. That ruined my New Year's.
Yours. I can tell y'all stories about that. But yeah. But I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no. So Major Burns is obviously a guy that'll make your secondary better. Obviously, LSU has been getting, beat deep over the top some. Obviously, the Ole Miss game is a completely different game if they hit the Mingo shot over the top of Greg Brooks. How do you work that in? I don't know. Joe Fouché played his best game, this past week. But obviously, getting Major Burns back would be, absolutely huge.
Cardi, can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah, go ahead.
And correct me if I'm wrong. Do you feel like a lot of our play whenever it comes to the DB position, the cornerback position, is our guys just not turning their heads and not being confident in their technique at times?
Yeah, I think it's some of that, but I can't say this because I've never played DB, but it's hard. Like when I was in LSU media, a player I got to know really well was Patrick Peterson, and I asked him about that. And I was like, "Why? How are you so good at not panicking?" Well, he just said, "I just stay calm." And if you ever watch him, it's just kind of crazy, like how still his body stays. Like he's just in, complete control of the situation. And it's tough. Like it's kind of an awkward thing. Like you're running backwards and then you got to flip your head, find the ball, and it's tough. And now the receivers are so good now at not giving away of when the ball is actually going to land. They do a good job of putting their hands. Jamar Chase is the absolute best at this.
Yes, he is.
Putting their hands up at the very last second. It's just, and all the rules are against you now. I mean, it's just all those different things, which is why there's only a few 5-star DBs every year that truly move the needle. So yeah, I think that's part of it. It's just a very, very difficult position.
You got to think about it too. You're taught that if you feel like you're getting beat, to commit PI. You know what I mean? That you're taught that. So when you're out there one-on-one and you're alone, you don't know where the ball's at, so you don't know if you're beat or not. instinctually you're gonna do what you're taught and you're gonna start grabbing. So sometimes they grab whenever they're in perfect position to turn around and look at the ball, but they don't know the ball is coming. So they're feeling like they're getting beat, so they start pulling, and by the time they turn around, they've already committed PI. You know what I mean? So it's one of them things to where it's a lot of feel for the DB. You gotta feel, you gotta have a great feel. And like the great ones like Derek Stingley and Patrick Peterson, they have great feel and they just know where the ball's at.
Stingley's so smooth. Yeah.
So my son played DB last year, and I was asking him, I was watching him play during the game. I said, why don't y'all ever get y'all head around? They're taught now to play through the man, not turn their head and
you swipe at the ball. You swipe at the ball when he catches and stuff, bro.
I was like, that is what nobody's going to. I was thinking there are so many plays y'all have missed interceptions if somebody just turns their head a little bit. And then in a game, I think it was their homecoming last year. The one time the kid turns his head, he breaks up the pass to win the game.
There you go.
What are you doing, coach? What are you teaching them?
A lot of that is to what Carter said though, is you know what I mean, that you play through their hands because they're so great at throwing their hands up at the last second. That's the only thing that you really have to, you know what I mean, try to play is the ball. So
yeah. I want to shout out Sherry Berry. That's one of my really good friends. Her husband is a Bammer.
It is. Carter, it's such a small world. Where she lives is where my military, my National Guard unit is stationed.
Oh, really?
Was stationed when I was in. Such a small world. Because I've talked to her as well. Sherry is really, good person. I listen. I feel her pain this week. Hang in there, Sherry. We'll be praying with you. I'll send you some anointed tiger oil or something.
Anointed tiger oil.
we gotta. Y'all just don't know. Like this week. So the Auburn week isn't bad. Yeah. As a LSU fan living in Alabama, the Auburn week isn't as bad. There's a little banter, it's a little trash talk, but it's not as bad. Alabama,
whole different.
People have literally, because I even have after the 2019 season, they finally got LSU license plates for us. Like we finally had enough people to get them. So I have an LSU license plate. People have literally followed me in traffic. Literally followed me in traffic, beeping their horn. And this one guy, he followed me, beeped his horn, was like trying to get me to roll my window down. And something told me, I was like, this is gonna be some BS. And I look over, he said, you ever heard of Roll Tide? Listen, y'all just don't know. It was about to be a Second Amendment day, You know what I'm saying? It was about to be. Listen, I was.
You gonna shoot the man for saying Roll Tide, bro?
No, it was just, no. That wasn't gonna be it. It's the fact that you followed me.
I get that.
Yeah, to do like, because like I've run across people.
You got nothing better to do.
Yeah, I've literally been in stores and somebody walked past. I had a shirt and they'll say, friend, hi, But if I'm in traffic and you doing it, you going too far. You're going way too far.
Yeah. So Jared's also Jared A, one of my good buddies. He's also a Bama Tiger as well. So my thoughts are with you. It's crazy how many LSU fans live in Alabama. It blows my mind. Like,
I mean, it's the same way here, bro.
True. Especially. I know it. I hate it for you in particular, and especially North Louisiana.
Yes.
There's so many Bammers, man, and it's not just like Cam Robinson and Hootie Jones thing. It's not just that. It's just there's Bama fans there. It's that, but some of the Bama fans don't even know who those two players are. Sadly, they're just Bama fans. They want. But yeah, it sucks.
Hey, I got to shout out my guy. Congratulations, Preston, on your new baby. Welcome to fatherhood.
He's another baby.
Team no sleep.
Yeah.
Especially on that first one. But Carter, Ryan Thibodeau asked a good question. Does the offense need to run more up tempo to keep the defense on its heel? I don't know if this is the game to do it.
I actually think it is. I do. Like, I think if you're rolling offensively and it's working, keep doing it. And look, something that's really interesting about Alabama is it's probably not as important to do that than it is when you're playing other teams. But what makes Alabama really good defensively is I feel as if I prefer Alabama to just rush normally than when they do twist stunts. They're really good at that. And it's what destroyed the Denbrock Cincinnati offense last year.
That's what's been kicking out butt all season.
They cannot block a twist. Now, what's interesting is Emory Jones has had some issues, blocking twists. They're hard. They're really hard to block if you're not used to it. At the high school level, they don't do it as much. But it's tough. Will Anderson is a great twist stunt end. He is, and BJ is in his own right on our end as well. Well, and the one thing about going fast is it's hard to get exotic on the back end if you're going fast, right? If you're going bop, 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 it changes a whole lot what you can do defensively, and that will obviously help us out. Now, something else that's going to be very key is TDP was really good for us last year in this game. Are we going to see more from Josh? I also think quietly this could be a John Emery game. Obviously, his knee is paramount. His health is always something that you have to worry about. But John, last time LSU played Alabama and he was available, John had one of his better games, the long, 50-yard run. So, I could expect some John in this game. And when John's played, he's been really good for us this year. Florida game was good. Tennessee game was actually really good. The stats didn't show it. He broke a lot of tackles, pushed a lot of piles forward. And then obviously the Auburn game was the best game of his career. So, if we get John healthy, obviously his upside is just, better than our other running backs. And, hopefully, he can go out there and make a few plays for us.
Yeah.
Good man, Chauncey Tuck from the Down South Football Podcast says, Bama has struggled defensively, period. If you can manage 0 turnovers, nickel and dime, keep Bama off the field.
Yep.
I love it. Yeah.
John Emery is always one shoestring tackle away from breaking it, man. So
I like it.
I hope he does. I hope he does have a coming out party.
Let me ask you guys this, because you guys cover so many more teams than I do, right? I do the SEC, and but I do watch a lot of football. Tell me this, okay? This is completely random. Okay, it's okay if I ask y'all a random question.
Oh yeah.
Because our friend, okay, Black Guys 4040, all right, he is so mad about this, and I am too. I don't understand the baggy undershirt trend.
Oh, I like it whenever I play ball.
I don't get it either.
Hold up. I don't trust nothing Daniel liked when he played ball. Because
the reason why I didn't like the old tight jerseys, man. So I ain't want my stomach hanging out. You know what I'm saying? So I just felt a little bit more free.
As a lineman, I understand you not wanting, but it's easier for them to hold you. So that's
as a skilled player,
well, as a lineman, it's easier for them to hold you.
Well, if you're holding the bottom of my shirt, they should catch that.
Should, but I'm just saying. But as a skill position guy, that's just something else for them to tackle you by. So I never understood that.
Yeah, that's true. K-Sean wears those sometimes too, I think.
Yeah,
all our guys.
That's what Brian Thomas got the picture of the guy 10 yards behind him, holding the shirt.
Yeah. So what do y'all think? I mean, is it?
Well, it's just a different era, bro. That's all it is, man.
I guess this is. I don't know, because
I mean, just like whenever I grew up, every linebacker had the neck roll. Every linebacker had that. You don't see that anymore, man.
Yeah, because you couldn't even move. You couldn't turn your head, man.
You don't see that no more, man. But they don't play football in a phone booth no more. So
I was just about to say that.
Yeah. When I was playing, we didn't have the tight sleeves yet, so we used to take the top of the socks and cut them and roll the sleeves up and tuck them. So
Brett Favre action.
Yeah. So I definitely.
And we used to get spatted up, bro. That was the thing to do back in the day. Get spatted, or you had the socks that they sold at Academy. It looked like spat.
Yeah, you cut them and put y'all don't know how much money was wasted trying to look trendy.
The armbands, a little stupid Nike armbands, dude.
I had to rotate. I had to have one color on each arm, rotate opposite on the leg. Yeah, bro.
I love it. No, Marvin says I had a neck roll playing wide receiver.
That's
crazy. But see, Marvin also played when the wide receiver used to line up in the 3-point stand.
Yeah, they played. He's in the triple option offense.
Had the soft helmets.
Oh, that's so funny, Marvin. You made my night. I just visualized that.
Can you imagine trying to turn around for the ball?
A wide receiver with a neck roll,
bro.
Hey,
that is so great.
I could just see like DK Metcalf or somebody like that playing with a neck roll. You got to be like a tight end almost with a neck roll, bro.
How old are y'all? Listen here, you whippersnapper. Okay, so Carter, you said you like
this guy right here, bro.
Hey, that is true. Hey, Preston did pancake you, honey.
Oh wow,
he got that one. He got that.
I
ain't with no dirt though.
He said he made you eat dirt. That is
crazy. He ain't made me eat no dirt. He got me though. But see, that's what happens when you blitz and the blitz ain't called. Like,
so you was an undisciplined player,
bro. We was getting our asses whooped. At this point, somebody had to make a play.
Selfish. That is selfish.
Somebody had to make a play.
All right.
I love it.
All right. So, Carl, let me ask you this, because you just broke, said you love football and stuff. This is outside of LSU here, the parity in college football now, with the transfer portal and stuff like that. There's a lot more upsets of what we, would think of upsets. A lot more blue bloods going down and everything else. We know transfer portal, NIL and stuff. How much has that really impacted the game as far as, and I may be answering my own question, but
so this is what I think's happened, right? The elite programs are still the elite programs. That's not going to change, right? Because Alabama could still go get Jahmyr Gibbs, and that be the piece, right? But the truth is exactly what you mentioned. It makes the bottom better, right? It makes Arkansas better. It makes South Carolina better. It makes a lot of these teams just more solid. So it's you don't have as many just run over games. Like, for instance, like Arkansas's defense is entirely transfers. And they're a decent team this year, right? So, I think that obviously helps out those teams. So at the tip of the iceberg, the best are still going to be the best, right? And you saw it this weekend. Like, a big reason why Georgia, blew out Florida is because, they have Brock Bowers and Jalen Carter, right? And Ohio State had a 5-star DT, the JT Tolomalo. I can't.
JTT, that kid's a monster, bro.
He's a monster. And those guys are just guys, you just recruited to bring in. Now, what's interesting is when you actually look at transfer portal data, Jay Bud Davis has done some great work on this, is the skill position players on both sides of the football are more fluid, right? They move from one place to the next. So the key is obviously building your lines through your recruiting classes. And that's kind of what LSU has done, right? Like, imagine where this team would be without Will Campbell and Emory Jones. We'd be an awful team. We're just an objective.
Imagine if we didn't have Wingo.
You know how crazy that is? Two true freshmen have that big of an impact on your offensive line. And it's not even like, oh, we've got to play them out of necessity. It's like they're good and we're playing them. Oh my, that is crazy.
So I think, to further, on that point, to make it more newsworthy here, obviously Zillian Third, I think is going to be a good player. So, I think he might not be year one, but I think he's going to play, right? I think he's going to play somewhere at year one. The truth is, DJ Chester's going to be a big piece coming up, on Thursday. And when he makes his announcement, right, the really good player out of Georgia. I think recruiting the lines are just going to be so important moving forward, just because I do think you could find more quality at other positions in the transfer portal. I just think offensive line is really tough. I really do think so. Like linemen just don't transfer as much. Like every year there's a few, like obviously Osiris Torrance is a big time player for Florida. And then Tyler Steen's a good player for Alabama. But for the most part, you need to build that position through recruiting. And LSU's obviously done a really good job of that.
Right. Carter, also, we was talking to Tank about this Thursday night. I have never seen a 3 down lineman interior rotation ever. As far as having Tank, Jacobian, and Jacqueline Roy and Wingo. That's crazy.
Yeah, Roy's obviously really special. I think Roy's going to be a better player in the NFL than he is in college. And he's really good now.
You think he should be playing the 3?
Yeah, so like he'll get drafted to play like the Chris Jones role. Now, is he going to be like that good at the next level? I don't know, because Chris Jones is going to be a Hall of Famer.
Amazing, right.
But yeah, I mean, Wingo's just been a revelation. Honestly, I didn't think he'd be this good. I'm serious. You know, and something else that's kind of interesting about this LSU team in particular, and this is like a complete other side topic here, is it shows you how irrelevant spring football is in the grand scheme of things. Like, you know, everything that we took from the spring, like almost it's actually just, and not only that it doesn't matter, D-Dub, it's also it hadn't come true, right? Yeah. Like Wingo had a bad spring game, and he is the best defensive tackle in the SEC according to Pro Football Focus. You know, Jaden did not have a good spring game. He's obviously, you know, been one of the best first-year starters we've ever had at LSU.
Ooh, do Baskerville.
Exactly.
It goes on and on. Nuss balled out in spring. But, so, I mean, that's one of those things where you can have an excellent spring, and I'm not saying our guys did this or any guy, but you cannot work as hard in the offseason and come back during fall break. I mean, and be terrible. So,
or some guys just aren't practice players too, though. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly.
Right.
Yeah, and to like Chauncey's point, I'm not saying the spring is like just irrelevant. It's just
you can't base it off of.
You can't base it like you know so many. And what's really fascinating about it is so many late enrollee, true freshman year one guys have been big. And now a fourth is emerging here to go along with obviously Perk, obviously, you know, Emory Jones and Mason Taylor. They were all late enrollee, true freshmen, all three of them playing at a high level right now. But DeMario Tolan also is someone else, you know, who played like he was around in the spring, but he didn't really start playing until the fall.
Hey, that's Pooh Bear's guy. Pooh Bear loves Tolan.
Oh, yeah, I told
I do.
Yeah. The 3-2, maybe.
Hey, that dude popped up like I was like, where? You know, who is this? You know,
I was like number 32.
and listen, he balled out. Like he really balled out.
Yeah.
2 years ago, Carter. Do you know who led the LSU in receiving yards in the spring game? Not this past spring, the spring before.
LSU's best quarterback of all time did.
Yeah.
John Trey Kirkland.
There you go.
He caught what 16 passes that game. That's crazy.
He went off. Yeah.
He had like 200. He had like 230 some yards receiving in the spring game.
Speaking of spring game, shout out to the greatest spring game player of all time, Richard Murphy.
Richard Murphy. I knew and you have encyclopedic knowledge. I was hoping somebody brought up Richard Murphy. I remember when Richard. Oh my God!
Go to spring games, man.
Everyone, that's Billy Cannon right there. He's gonna win the Heisman.
Dude had like 230 yards in the spring game. Then tore ACL before he could ever play.
That is so funny. That is such a because when you think spring game, I automatically think Richard Murphy. I was
too.
Like, oh my God, And no, go on.
No. Go ahead, because I was gonna shift a little bit.
No, shift. Go on ahead, man, because I got some fajitas waiting on you, man.
Okay. Well, first off, Carter, I always appreciate when you come on.
Yeah.
And don't want to hold you too long, but I was going to ask you about Lane Kiffin and his troll job on Jimbo.
I love Lane, man. I do. Like, I'm not afraid to admit it. Like,
Mhm.
I'm I'm lucky to, through film studies, get to know other coaches and
Right.
players. And I'll say this: one player I've gotten to know pretty well is Jeremy Hill, and Jay Hill loves Lane's offense. He just does.
Yeah.
And we'll text back and forth about it, and it's just crazy how freaking good his offense is at just opening things up, right? Does a good job flooding the boundary with all different kinds of routes and makes it very easy for his quarterback. And Quinshon Judkins is just special. But the good thing about Lane is he makes the SEC fun, right?
Yeah.
Ole Miss is nothing without Lane Kiffin.
That's right.
And something, is to make it an LSU thing here. Something I really like about, seeing Brian Kelly have the success is Lane is Ole Miss, right? The reason why Ole Miss is succeeding is because of Lane Kiffin. Now, I'm not saying that LSU isn't succeeding because of Brian Kelly, but LSU has succeeded with other coaches, right?
So I want Lane at Auburn.
Man, that would be awesome.
Yes. I want it too, because that's what's gonna make Nick Saban retire.
Oh, wow.
That's a hot take.
That's a spicy take.
Man, look, Lane knows how to irritate Saban, and if he's in the same state with him, and can you imagine the Iron Bowl with Lane Kiffin on the other side?
Gosh,
I will say this though, is Lane and Nick's relationship is really strong, and I think Lane said something about like he didn't like that Jimbo took a shot
exactly
at him,
yeah, which was weird to me.
Nick, which was very interesting. But yeah, I would love that. And I think Auburn fans are crazy. And also, I'll say this, on the SEC channel, I said Brian Harsin's the worst coach in the SEC West. His coordinators are the absolute worst. Derek Mason took a job at Oklahoma State. And Auburn fans came at my neck. I was like, your coach is going to get fired. He's objectively bad. Yeah. And, it's happened. Auburn fans need a hard reset, right? Alan Green, their AD, who I got to know a little bit. Obviously, he was already looking for another job. That's not good, right?
I knew that wasn't going to last. When they announced it and I saw who he was,
exactly.
I knew that wasn't going to last.
I'll say this: my Lane thing is not that him and Saban don't like each other, nothing like that, but you just said it. They have a great relationship. So if anybody knows what Saban doesn't like and what's gonna push Saban's buttons, it's gonna be Lane. And at his biggest rival, a guy who knows him that well is just asking for Saban to, that's just Saban's gonna get angry. He's gonna get pissed off, and you're gonna see a lot of angry Saban if Lane's at Auburn, bro. Every Iron Bowl press conference, Lane's gonna say a little smart comment or do something that's gonna get under Saban's skin. He knows how to do it, and it's too easy for him.
I honestly think Saban only has 2 years left. I think after 2 years.
Yeah, because Lane Kiffin's coming on.
Hey, now, Carter, I'm gonna let you in on something.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Hey, the Golden Boot watcher listeners, watchers and stuff, and let y'all in on something. Sources. I've been told that Harson's already been he's already been told he's not coming back. That he was let go after the Ole Miss game. Yeah.
I'm just
saying.
I was waiting on my
tea. That's some good tea right there.
I was waiting because you have such great sound effects. I was waiting on a sound effect, like a breaking news sound effect or something.
No. Hold on. I don't have no. But I don't have. Well,
you can't play it now. You can't play it now.
This is what they.
That's Harson's.
Yeah.
No.
So don't be surprised if at the end of the year. Yeah, hey, Tuck. He said you want me to confirm. Yes, please confirm. Yes, but yeah, that's why.
So I'm guessing Chauncey's an Auburn fan.
Yeah. He's a.
Yeah, we had him on the show whenever we played Auburn. He's part of Downside Football Podcast. They tuned in real well with Auburn. So
yeah. That's actually he's
Justin Tuck.
Yeah. That's the name. So he actually had very glowing reviews about Brian Kelly because of he got to know Brian Kelly through Justin Tuck. So
that's cool. That's great. That's cool. Well, good to meet you, Chauncey. Here's something I'll say is, and Auburn fans. This is what gets Auburn fans really mad at me. But I love Gus. I thought Gus was great,
I agree.
and he beat Alabama twice. He almost won a national championship with Nick Marshall at quarterback.
Yes.
And he beat us in 2007 with the Arkansas offense. He was the OC for Cam and all those guys. I was a big Gus guy, and Lane is very similar to Gus, right? He runs an offense that is simple for a quarterback, and he gets guys open, right? And Quinshon Judkins reminds me of Cadillac Williams, right? So, it's crazy. And Auburn's running back Tank Bixby is a beast right now, but still,
both of their running backs.
Hunter, Hunter's a good player too. So, I think Auburn it would be a fantastic place for Lane to go. That would just be a crazy move going from Ole Miss to Auburn.
Fun fact: Jamarcus Russell's freshman year, he led his high school team to the state championship. They lost to Cadillac Williams.
Oh wow!
Fun fact: LSU. The last time LSU beat Alabama in Tiger Stadium, who was our quarterback?
Jordan Jefferson, right?
I'm thinking, it was Jordan Jefferson, 2010.
2010, yeah. Or Jared Lee, Jordan Jefferson. Yeah, man. Ruben Randall went off that game. I loved it. Yeah. Bastrop's finest. Let's go.
Before that, it was Jamarcus Russell.
J. Russ.
Yeah. So Carter, last two things, and we'll get you out of here. This is gonna be a 2-for-1. Who right now we know Tuesday they're gonna announce the first playoff top four. Who do you have as your top four right now, and who do you have as your top four Heisman candidates?
So top four. Let's start with Heisman. I'm a little bit weird when it comes to like football awards. I think you need to give an award to a quarterback and then give an award to all the other positions, just because it's just tough. But like Brock Bowers deserves some looks for what he's doing at tight end. He's revolutionizing the position. He's just been that good. His Florida performance was amazing. But that aside, obviously, it's more than likely to go to a quarterback. And right now, I'd give it to Hendon Hooker. I would. Now, I will say, as someone who put some cheddar on Hendon Hooker and Stetson Bennett for Heisman, I'd like either one of those two guys to win it. But yeah, I think right now, I would give it to Hendon Hooker, and after that, I'm fine with Stroud and Bryce Young being in that conversation. There's obviously plenty of other names you can put into that conversation right now. Now, as far as the playoff is concerned, my top four, I think Tennessee and Georgia both deserve to be in the top four. And obviously, I would put Tennessee number one just because you beat Alabama and you absolutely throttled a decent Kentucky team. So I would put Tennessee number one. Obviously, Georgia would be in my top four. I would put Ohio State there. And then the number 4 team gets, a little interesting. Who would?
No LSU.
Oh, I'm sorry. Mr. Tuck said he wasn't asking if he need. He's telling me he's confirming the Auburn report.
Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Number 4, I'd put Michigan. Why not? They're unbeaten. I know it's 2 teams from like the same conference, but still, Michigan's playing really good football right now.
Yeah, I think Michigan beats Ohio State too.
All right. Y'all want me to go next and say?
Let's go.
Go ahead.
All right. So my for Heisman, I've got in order: Hooker, Stroud, Drake Mays from North Carolina, and Bryce Young.
All right.
Your playoffs. Okay. My playoffs: Tennessee, Georgia, Michigan, TCU.
Okay. Oh, my Heisman in order: Hooker, CJ, Caleb Williams, Blake Corum from Michigan, the running back.
Blake, I like that.
Yeah, I
And
keep
then
my.
my
Okay.
my playoff is Tennessee, Georgia number 2, Michigan number 3, and I like that TCU pick though. I do like that. But I'm gonna go with Clemson number 4.
Hold on. I'm gonna tell you who I debated with putting it at my number 4, Oregon.
Hey, you know who I debated putting in my Heisman? Bo Nix.
Yeah.
Bo.
Bo Nix.
I like it.
Well, I got Hendon Hooker, C.J. Stroud. That's all that matters to me. My top 4 as far as college football playoff is Georgia, Tennessee, Clemson, and Michigan.
I do think that we may put Bryce Young out of the Heisman race this week.
I don't think he gets in anyways.
I don't think he does either.
Yeah.
Just saying. Hey, spicy. Very spicy.
He shouldn't have won it last year, though, honestly. Will Anderson should have won it last year.
I agree.
I give you that.
I agree with that fully.
All right. So Carter, this will be the last one, absolute last one. LSU beats Bama. Realistically, do we play in New Year 6? Or actually, depending on if we beat Bama, I think that's foregone conclusion. We can kind of run the table up until SEC championship, of course. But let's say LSU falls close to Bama. We still have a realistic chance of New Year 6.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's going to come down to what a lot of other teams do. So you would need like a few other teams that barely miss a playoff to lose a bunch of games as well. It's like that's like your Utahs and so on and so on. If LSU wins out, they're going to get into the playoff, right? You know, you win, you get in. You would be the first 2 lost team. Now, this is where it gets fun, right? Because look, every single one of your viewers is probably an LSU fan. Obviously, you know, Chauncey's an Auburn fan. So you got a few fans that of different teams. But there's also a piece of us that is just a fan of college football, right? Take away our LSU fandom. And I think that's something that's really good about like the YouTube era, what you guys are doing and, you know, what everybody's doing now is I feel like, you know, because, you know, we have dialogue, people are able to separate their fandom and just look at things objectively. Yeah. It's crazy that may sound. Some don't do that, which is fine. Do what you want. But if we're to look at this objectively, the funnest year of college football was 2007. Now we did.
Oh, yes.
It was.
Yes.
We did win it all. Okay. That's why I said all of that previously. So it's not like, well, of course you're going to say 2007 was the best year. Y'all won it all. But no, objectively, ask every national college football writer that covers the sport on a grand scale. Yeah. What was your favorite year in college football?
Chaos.
Everybody would say 2007. Everybody. So this year has the most 2007 vibes. And what would get this playoff into full 2007 chaos is if LSU beats Alabama. Yeah. Because it becomes crazy if LSU beats Alabama.
Yeah. Do you think a 3-team? Okay, let's say the scenario ends and LSU loses to Alabama, but Tennessee loses to Georgia, but Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game. So you have one loss. Alabama
wouldn't be in. If LSU loses, okay.
LSU loses to Alabama. Alabama beats Georgia in the SEC championship game, and Tennessee loses to Georgia Saturday also. You have 3 one-loss teams. Who gets left out?
Yeah, and that's, you know,
it's tough.
It's tough, and that's when like stats like game control and those things are key, like strength of schedule and all of that. And the funny thing is, like, the playoff committee does stick to a formula, right? They do. Like, these people that are part of these committees, some of them don't love football half as much as us 4 do. or they just want, they flying from around the country. Do you think they have all the time in the world to look at all 22 of all these teams? No. So they'll look at things like game control. They'll look at things like how close did you lose this game, and did you beat this team, and where was the game taking place, and all of that. And the committee also takes into account injuries. So let's say Tennessee wins out, but they lose a close SEC championship game to, let's say, LSU or someone like that, and Hendon Hooker gets hurt, the committee is allowed to factor that into their equation. So, which is crazy, right? I see you, PB, shaking your head right there.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, it's nuts to think about. But I honestly think if LSU beats Alabama, we get pure all around chaos, especially if Clemson keeps winning, especially if USC, keeps winning, especially if Ohio State or Michigan, finishes the year undefeated. And that's where you're going to have a true log jam at the top. So if you're to take off the LSU glasses for a second, LSU beating Alabama would actually be something that would, create more interest, I think, of the sport. And I also think if you're a 12-team playoff believer, you would also say, look, this is the downside of a 14 playoff, because and I don't want 12 teams. I just don't. But if you are a 12-team playoff believer, that would be the perfect case scenario, saying, look, it is impossible for us to squeeze all of these teams in, so we need more room to let them in. So
I always say 6 to 8. 6 to 8 will be the perfect number.
8.
like
I've always said 8. You get all 5 power conferences and 3 at large.
I like it. Well, guys, I really appreciate.
Carter, the pleasure was ours.
Thank you, brother.
No, it's funny. I've gotten to know Ant pretty well. I got to know you, pretty quickly through our buddy Sean and
yes, sir.
PB. Obviously, your work with Blake and everybody in DW. You guys are great. You do wonderful things. Do good stuff with the HBCU stuff. I'm starting to see you guys get some love for that. That's obviously really cool. Yeah. And look, you never know.
Shout out to the Pels.
To the Pels. I was look. It's nuts, man. I'm so glad to be a fan of this team. And it's crazy. Like a year from now, we'll be talking about, Zion being the number 2 option on our team to Victor Wembanyama. And the Lakers will be
where your mama at?
Yeah, the Lakers will be an 0-82 team. And
Jesus, don't remind me.
It's amazing.
It's
awesome.
Wait, BB, are you a Lakers fan?
I'm a LeBron fan. I can honestly admit that I'm a LeBron fan.
I'm a Bron fan because he is a part owner of Liverpool Football Club. So that's my favorite team. Period. Outside of Liverpool,
PSG baby.
Are you PSG? Oh man, killing Mbappe, man. That team is loaded. Mbappe, and they got this messy guy. He's okay. He's scored a few goals.
And then this dude named Neymar. Something like that. Yeah.
No, PSG, and that's just the sickest front line, man. Mbappe.
Hey, we was killing when we had Neymar, Suarez, and Messi too. So I've been and Denny Alvedi, all them. Yeah, that's my squad, man.
That's good, man. Well, guys, thank you so much. I tune in when I can, and we'll talk soon. And go Tigers!
I appreciate it.
You LSU, let's go.
Let's go. Appreciate it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, man. Card is always good. I always
go, man.
Yeah.
Hey, if you ever have a chance, go check out his film breakdowns. He usually does. I know he does LSU, but he started doing the SEC as well as a whole. Go check that out.
Yeah, he also has a Patreon also.
Yep.
He does good stuff, man. Awesome.
All right, so we can get ready to get close to wrapping this up. I do want to say this. Number 9, number 10, number 13, number 16, and number 25, which doesn't affect us, but they all lost this weekend.
Yes,
LSU did jump up because of that. 2007.
Let's go.
I'm just saying it looks like it's happening.
Also, hey,
Birdman.
Hey, I'm gonna be real with you. I need somewhere to go tailgate this weekend.
Yeah,
Get your boy up, man. Come on.
Y'all drop them tailgates in the comments for us, man.
Yeah.
Hey,
we'll be down there.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of fellas, I don't know if it's been announced yet. I hadn't seen it yet. SEC Nation, I do know, is going to Athens, Georgia for Georgia, Tennessee.
Nice.
So college
what
game day still looking for a place. I hadn't seen. I've been checking. So if y'all see, and they've already announced, but it looked like college game day could be headed to Baton Rouge.
Last time I was in Baton Rouge and game day was there was 2019 Florida.
Bro, they come. Ooh. Don't remind me. 2019 Florida game was amazing.
Now they're going to Athens, bro.
No. Are they going to Athens too?
Mm-hmm.
So they're going
game day. See, are you ready, Athens? The next up, we're headed to the highly anticipated matchup between
I can see it.
Tennessee.
So they don't have
Georgia.
SEC Nation and game day though.
I mean, you got number 1 and you got what, number 2, right? Tennessee is number 3.
Tennessee tied for number 2 in the AP.
Yeah.
But you know, Tuesday they're gonna start going by the CFP rankings. So we'll see. Tennessee might be number 1 in that.
Right.
So we do have Jared said he likes 18s, no first round bye.
I'm with you, Jared. I'm with you on that.
So all right, but fellas, let's talk about this past weekend real quick. The biggest thing that I know we wanted to talk about, Michigan State. On the field, it started off looked like a kind of a close game, very physical. Michigan pulled away late. Just outmanned Michigan State.
Blake Corum legit, man. That running back is cold, bro.
Yeah.
But after the game,
Michigan State seemed to outman Michigan. Here we go.
What is going on?
So if y'all couldn't tell, those were actually 2 separate incidents. There was 2 different players. Don't know their names yet. But they were basically, I think it was what took a wrong turn down a tunnel.
Now the way they locker room the set up is both teams got to use the same tunnel.
Gotcha.
And so I guess they was just got kind of separated from their team or something like that. But there was
you could also see
that was jump. Obviously.
Yeah, he was jump, but also you could see whenever number 1 was going to the locker room for Michigan, it looked like he was popping off to Michigan State. I'm not saying it was right. I'm not saying it was right, but you know.
But what?
Don't pop off. And when you surrounded, you don't got nobody. Shut up, man. And just go to the locker room. You just beat me. I'm in my feelings. I'm very emotional. I'm a young person. Act up. You can get smacked up. That's what happened.
The views and opinions expressed in the Golden Boot podcast are those of the speaker and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the Golden Boot podcast as a whole.
All right. Anyway,
I'm reading Chris' comments, but yeah.
So
y'all pause or something?
No. So he said he was skipping until he gave a ran high five. After that, he puts his head down and walked into the tunnel.
Yeah, and I see. I also in that same video, it did look like they were holding the Michigan team back to let Michigan State go in first, but he just so happened to go in when Michigan State went in.
Ain't no excuse for that, dog.
At all. I don't care what you say. Because you know how much stuff is said on the field during the game, and then after the game, everybody shakes hands. And
the only reason they did,
but they ain't going to the same.
It doesn't matter. The only reason Michigan State did that is because it was one of him, and there was a whole bunch of them.
Yeah.
Do you know that for sure?
You literally just saw the video.
You don't know what he said.
Where was
You
the
don't know.
where was
What
this
matter?
fight on the field? If they was really about it and that's how they was feeling, where was this on the field?
Maybe he didn't say what he had to say on the field. He said it right then and there.
So he waited until it was one of him and 50 of them to say something.
Why
That's
else?
highly unlikely.
And why else would they jump?
Because they got whooped on the field.
Why? All right, y'all. Let's move on because that was just I don't know what you be thinking. Tulane been making noise. Are they this year's Cinderella?
Nope,
Who you got?
not them. I don't have nobody Cinderella because ain't no. Yeah,
You know, Cinderella don't mean necessarily mean. I'm not saying.
I thought you were talking about like they're the Cincinnati of last year.
I mean, I'm saying New Year 6.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I
definitely
mean,
believe they can get into
UCF was a Cinderella. They didn't go to the playoffs. They won the national championship, I guess you can say, but they didn't go to the playoff.
No, I get it. Yeah, I think they can finish the season undefeated.
No, they can't.
They got
lost
one
already.
loss. Yeah, they got one.
Oh,
loss.
they lost. Oh, okay.
So Southern Miss of all people.
I thought they were still undefeated. Oh yeah, they lost early in the season. You're right.
Yeah, I think they could finish as the highest G5 team. If not them, I think it might be. Does Liberty count or are they independent? Huh? So I don't think they count.
You know who I think would have taken it? South Alabama. And they slipped up against Troy.
Yeah.
Because their only loss was a 2-point loss to UCLA.
Yeah, they probably could have. I think UCF after beating Cincinnati, I think they the other team that's kind of right there with Tulane.
I think no, Cincinnati had. I mean, UCF has 2 losses too though.
But they base it off the highest ranked G5 team.
That's true.
So if Tulane loses, then the only
you're right.
other ranked one would be UCF.
Yeah. All right.
Dang it, I was just literally about to say, would there be something different for Hugh Freeze? But he just locked down a contract with Liberty.
I've been telling y'all, Liberty is the only school that can pay like the big schools, bro.
$5 million.
They got money over there, bro.
Ooh-wee. Yeah, he ain't going nowhere.
Kansas State.
Big surprise of the weekend.
They own real estate in Oklahoma.
Yeah, you asked who was the biggest surprise of the weekend or the most impressive of the weekend, whatever. That would be them. That would be Kansas State easily.
I want a rematch though.
From last year, I don't really care about last year, but I mean, I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying, but because I think if we played them this year, I think we boat race them.
Tulane beat them.
That's true.
Yeah, my rematch.
First year coaches.
Who excited?
Yeah, because I was so I'm trying to hit these because enjoyed this time with what I'm saying. First year coaches. So I want to throw this up here. If you look up here, I put some that basically all the ones who have been struggling. You got Tony Elliott, Billy Napier, Brent Venables, Marcus Freeman, and Mario Cristobal. Of these guys, who is I guess you could say on the hot seat?
I don't think none of them are necessarily on the hot seat.
For sure.
But I think there's a couple of them who might be worse off than originally anticipated.
You said not in the first year. You had like that matters.
I mean, I don't think none of them gonna get fired. But
no. They'll get another year, maybe a year and a half.
I'll say this: Mario Cristobal losing to Duke
and North Carolina.
Yeah.
And Middle Tennessee.
But turning the ball over 8 times against Duke, I mean, that's not a personnel issue. That's a coaching issue. So you can't say that you ain't got the guys in there, and that's the reason why that happened. And then Billy Napier, Florida off to the worst start they've had, and it's record-breaking pretty much. So I think those two are the ones I would look at and be like, man, y'all, I don't know if they're gonna be as patient with y'all.
I think the person who has the least amount of string is Marcus Freeman. I just do. I know he just got a big win.
No. I got.
But hold on. Marcus Freeman, and I think Cristobal is safe because he's a Miami guy. I think
Nope,
they at least give him
Mark Rick was a Miami guy. They ran him up out of there quick.
No, I get it, but also the talent that Cristobal is bringing in the next couple of seasons is going to be big time. So I think he'll have a chance.
Notre Dame, you could say the same thing about Notre Dame. They're top 10.
I'm gonna tell you who got the longest leash. It's Tony Elliott. Virginia's not necessarily expected to win.
Yeah, that's true. That's fact. But I think like
coaches.
But I think like
you said out of those coaches,
I think Venables gets fired first though.
Marcus Freeman has the best win of all of them though. Like he just beat a top 15, 16 team on the road. So like I think he has the best win, and he's not as lost of a cause this season as some of those other programs are. Miami has been terrible. Florida hasn't been good at all. Like what other than recruiting, what can you stake your hat on?
I think they give Florida. I'm sorry, I ain't mean to cut you. I think they do give more. I think Florida, to your point, Florida gives Napier a little bit more leeway.
He didn't have anything. If we're being honest,
he didn't. Who didn't?
The person who was there before him didn't like recruiting at all.
Mullen
didn't like Dan
Mullen. He didn't like recruiting, but okay. He brought in the NFL. He brought in an NFL caliber offensive lineman from UL, Osiris Torrance. He brought in Montreal Johnson, who's been their best running back. So I mean, with the transfer portal, the cover being bear shit ain't as good of an excuse as it used to be.
He not just that, he got Corey Raymond. Corey Raymond can pull any DB in the country. It don't matter.
Nah, you should be saying that. Should be saying that about Alonzo Highsmith.
Yeah. Now, if anything, y'all talking about that, and I see Ryan say Mario safe. Miami was supposed to be 12-0 this year.
And my thing is the losses that they have
that was fans saying that
they're bad, but they're bad losses, bro. Like they're not losing.
Texas A&M was a bad loss. I mean, although Texas A&M
that was
a bad loss. How they lost is what makes that a bad loss.
True. But what I'm losing to Duke should never happen if you're Miami ever.
True.
And losing to Middle Tennessee should never happen if you're Miami.
Middle Tennessee State literally had, if I'm not mistaken, they had like 3 drives over 70 yards. 3 scoring drives over 70 yards.
But also, Notre Dame losing to BYU. I understand. BYU
Notre Dame losing to Marshall.
Yeah, I understand. But what is Mario's big win?
Here, let me pull up his schedule.
No, he doesn't have one. I can tell you that now.
And
it's nothing to pull up.
Yeah, Marcus Freeman hasn't been great all year, but he at least has. Hey, this is what happens whenever I get out together. I beat Syracuse on the road.
Yeah.
They literally won 14-12 in triple overtimes over Virginia.
Middle Tennessee is 4-4 this year, bro.
Yeah, I still think Venables has the shortest leash, man. Because I don't see they're about to come to the SEC. Oklahoma, as far as when it comes to talent, it's not the most talent-rich state. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think he's gonna have a hard time, man.
Let's flip that. Who's doing the best? Who's doing the best as a
we really gonna have to put Ryan in time out. He talking about some Mullen's wife did the recruiting.
So you say BK? Who the best first year coach so far?
I do say BK.
Yeah, hands down.
I mean, I'm trying to think of I had this up earlier.
You got Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
Lincoln Riley.
You got the boy from Oregon, Dan Lanning. He's a first year coach.
I'm gonna say my guess is gonna be I'm gonna say it's out of BK and Lanning. Just simply because BK has some big wins. Landing has some big wins.
Mm-hmm.
USC
and his only loss is to Georgia, bro.
Yeah. So
yeah. I don't want to be biased.
Listen.
I gotta go with Lanning because not only is his only loss to Georgia, but he took a guy that everybody said was washed up.
And
got him looking like a Heisman candidate, and he's got the win over UCLA. Big win. Ed
Orgeron had Bo Nix looking like a Heisman.
He sure did.
Hello, man.
But hey. But I'm trying to think what else we got, fellas, before we jump off the call. Heupel, runaway coach of the year right now?
Easily.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
All right.
World Series.
Oh yeah, World Series tied up 1-1.
Mhm.
It's going back to Philly. I still
Let's go,
got
Phils. Let's
I
go,
got
Phils.
Astros in 6.
Let's go,
Now that
Phils.
Astros in 6. Bregman MVP.
Yeah. Now I've been seeing a lot on Twitter and about the pitcher. Now, of course, you guys know
Oh,
I'm
man.
kind of ignorant to baseball.
Don't
Oh
even
yeah.
get this started. Don't even
I
get this started.
honestly, I mean, is that really a thing?
Yeah, all right, okay. So the pitchers get checked after the innings, and not after every inning, but like periodically through the game, they get checked for having banned substance on them and stuff like that. And the Astros pitcher looked like he was rubbing his hands during the inning while he was pitching, and then he wiped his arm on his shirt, but while he was going to the umpire to get checked. So some people have saying he was cheating and stuff like that.
How can you like what's he putting on? He putting something on the
Okay,
baseball?
so if you like, there's a thing called Spider Tack. It's a sticky substance that helps you grip the ball better and helps you get better spin rate on the baseball, makes your curveballs, more effective and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I shared the video. I'm not saying the dude was cheating. It looks suspicious. I will
No, you
admit
said
that.
he was cheating in your Twitter video.
No, I did not. No, I
You
did
did.
not.
You
I
said the Astros always cheating.
No, I said they're known for cheating. That's what
Oh,
I
okay.
said. That's what I
So
said.
you insinuated he was cheating.
I mean, the person who put the video out insinuated they're cheating. And those videos come out about players all the time, not just Astros players. But the one time the Astros player puts out, everybody saying that, why are you doing this, all this kind of stuff, man. It is what it is. It happens all the time. But it's just anytime the Astros do something questionable, people going to call them out for it because of their history. It is what it is. It's no different, like I said on Twitter today, no different than the Patriots. Anytime something questionable happened with them, they brought up Spygate. People bring up Bountygate all the time. Like, when you get caught, people are going to bring that back up.
Yep. It's true. It's true. Speaking of gates, let's go ahead and jump to Ryan said sharing false information. Don't even respond, Ant. Don't even respond. But let's go ahead and jump to it, fellas. All right, here we go. All right, so I don't even know what I'm finna say, but I'm gonna go first. I know what I'm talking about though. All right, here we go. NFL referees and Mike Evans. I need y'all to come on down. If you hadn't seen, it was not this past Thursday, but last Sunday. Mike Evans and the referees Mike Evans was actually heading to the locker room. The referees called out for him and give him a piece of paper, and it looks like they're asking for an autograph. This is now being investigated by the league, but let's go ahead and look at it, and then I'll give y'all my take. All right, so I know everybody's saying that autograph gate is huge. You know what I'm saying? They could have showed favoritism. But I'll say this. It didn't matter. The Buccaneers lost. Mike Evans couldn't catch a cold butt naked in Alaska right now. I don't know if they were asking for an autograph. It sure looks like he was. But let me give a different spin on it. Let's just say that Mike Evans was out eating at a restaurant, and the referee just so happened to be eating at the same restaurant. Something happened. He had an emergency. Mike Evans had to leave, and the referee paid the bill. He just was getting Mike to sign, the money back over. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what happened. It makes no sense. Why are you asking for an autograph and you're the referee? There's got to be a better way for this. It looks like favoritism. It smells like favoritism. It didn't matter. They lost. They lost bad too. But I mean, I don't know. What do? You've got NFL referees who, although they may be full-time referees, most of them have a different job. Most of them are accountants, lawyers, doctors, or whatever. I don't know what the NFL needs to do. If they need to just hire full-time referees, give them a better salary, annual salary, because I think NFL referee average is like $30,000, $40,000 a year. So that's why most of them have different jobs. I'm looking it up now. average NFL referee salary is I'm wrong. Hey, 205,000 a year. Now, fire them. Fire them. Hire me today. Listen, he was holding after the play and all that. I don't know. That's just listen. I'm done. 205,000 a year. I throw flags out. Matter of fact, look.
Facts.
I don't even want his autograph. He can't catch that good to me. Next person. Who go?
I'll go next.
Okay.
That way we could save some positivity for last. All right. So I need the LHSA and everybody else involved in this next story to come on down to the front. For those of you who don't know, there was an incident between the Carroll High School football coaching staff and some Franklin Parish fans, police, and others at a game a couple weeks ago. The Carroll coaching staff was asked to leave the press box for allegedly using profanity, and whenever they were being escorted down, there was a ruckus, for lack of a better word. I'm not playing the video. Y'all can go find the video on your own. It's everywhere. Not that hard to find, but you can watch and see what happened. But there was some pushing and shoving from fans and some of the coaches from Carroll. The coaches that were on the field left the field to try to come, help their coaches in the stands, get back out of the stands and back to the sidelines. And all of that ruckus, that was pushing, shoving, some punches being thrown or whatever the case may be. It finally got resolved and Carroll ended up winning the game. Well, the LHSAA has suspended 9 Carroll coaches for the rest of the season and for the playoffs. And later that week, the Franklin Parish Sheriff's Office filed arrest warrants for 3 of the coaches for Carroll for inciting a riot and battery of a police officer. I'm not even going to get in that. That's a little excessive in my opinion, but I just want to say, LHSA, y'all failed these kids. The kids did not leave the sideline. The kids did not do anything wrong, and they're left to play this season with 4 coaches. Shout out to the coaches who are left, and great job coaching this team to a victory on Friday, but that penalty is excessive, LHSA. The rest of the regular season is plenty for the coaches to be suspended. That's plenty fair punishment, and let them coach the playoffs for this team, for these kids who have deserved that chance. They're currently number 4 in the power rankings, and they will make the playoffs, and they have a big game this weekend for the district title. So good luck to those boys. I'll be rooting for y'all, and I hope y'all get that district title, and I hope y'all make it to the Dome. Carroll strong.
Yo, Pooh, if you can go ahead and play the video. Real quick, I'll make mine quick, but I'll talk straight through the video. Shout out to Game Day for attending that Boombox Classic this weekend between Jackson State and Southern, and just showing love to the HBCU community. And not only that, big shout out to Deion Sanders and just letting. Now, of course, this is not the first time that Game Day has been to an HBCU, but Jackson State right now has a lot of the hype. You know what I'm saying? And it's always good to see traditions that are not always saw after on TV. You have the Deltas, performing on game day. You also have the Alphas stepping on game day as well. So it's just good to see, the HBCU culture getting the exposure that it deserves. So big kudos to game day. Big kudos for Prime. Southern, I had you winning it this weekend. You let me down. But man, it was beautiful to see the exposure. It was awesome to watch the game, 60,000 fans in the attendance, and it was just a beautiful event. Wish I could have made it. But again, kudos to Game Day. Who ain't swag, baby? You're muted.
You.
That's exactly who ain't you. No, just kidding. Hey, I was looking. I applied for this NFL referee job, and it asked me what teams I've liked in the past. And as soon as I said Saints, it kicked me out.
That's where you messed up at.
Yeah, I know. I should have.
You should have said the Patriots.
I should have lied. Yeah, Patriots.
It's Tom Brady. You didn't even gotta say Patriots.
Yeah,
it's Tom Brady.
So,
It said, and then it had like a graphic say, "What is roughing the passer?" And it had a guy touching the quarterback, and then it had a guy, looking at the quarterback, and then it had a picture of, but the answer was all of the above. I don't get it.
Did it ask about pass interference? Oh, never mind. They probably didn't.
Right. What's pass interference? No, that's what it said.
What is that?
Yeah.
Hey, it's like the Dave Chappelle skit. Who asked about the yellow cake? Who said pass interference?
Yeah. But fellas, we did it was I saw it was a comment I was gonna get to Nick Saban Jr. He was in here. He said, "My second time watching. I love what y'all are doing. Appreciate it." I know he watches down south football. I always see him in there.
Tell your daddy to retire.
Yeah, you tell him we said it's time to retire. But nah, man.
Thank y'all.
Yeah, thank y'all for watching. Please subscribe, like, share. We'll be
back. Tell your mom and them.
Yeah, tell your mom and them, your side piece. Tell your side piece, main piece. Hit us up, subscribe.
Just don't come with no drama.
For real.
I don't care what they do after they subscribe. But hey, we'll be back Wednesday with HBCU Hour. A lot of big games this past weekend.
A lot to talk about.
But like that, we out. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe on Twitter at Golden Boot. On Instagram at Golden Boot. On YouTube at The Golden Boot Pod. On Facebook at The Golden Boot Pod.
Golden Boot!